Hi folks, Dino Bob here, back in Lost Kingdom Park. And today we're going to expand with our hadrosaur portion of the park and also their friends. So we're going to start not in the usual plaza point because it'd be a really long walk to get around to this side. But this is the far side of the Nasutoceratops exhibit, and we're going to walk up the path here to the new bit, and that's the overlook of the pond, the second overlook that was in for that exhibit. And a little bit further down is the thatch roofed building that you can see on the left, and we saw that when we added Parasaurolophus to the Nasutoceratops exhibit. So we're just going to give it a nod as we pass by. A lot of undeveloped space on the right. So here is the glimpse of that, but that also brings the larger building it's connected to into view. And this is sort of a major construction of the Lost Kingdom, and it at least has implied connections where people and possibly guests can get in onto that upper part, and I'll be talking about that a little bit later. As we cruise on down the road, I see a place I forgot to cover the distorted path with a rock, and this is the staff entrance to that building. You can see the big warehouse style doors there with the overhang to keep the folks unloading those trucks that come in there dry in the tropical rains here at this park. We're going to continue on a little further, and you see some more thatch, and it should look very familiar. It's a building that is a copy of the one down there, although the interior is different. And a couple of other small changes to suit this particular location. You can see a fence that gives you a peek into the park, but it's really not a very good view. So let's go inside. And you can see that we've got three animals in here. They're all from the same formation, the Dinosaur Park Formation in Alberta. And we have refreshments for guests that make it this far. A little staff area there behind the Styracosaurus mask, and views out several windows here. This one looks back at that temple-like building, and just to its right you can see the shelter building for the animals in this habitat. Get a better look at it up here. Maybe we'll even see an animal. Or maybe not. Oh well. We'll see them sooner or later. And there are the doors for them to get in. If you squint and look at the back wall there, you can see the door that opens on the Nasutoceratops Parasaurolophus exhibit. But since the animal's not here, let's try another path. Back to the plaza and head on out past the Coelophysis and a little refreshment stand. And as we come around the corner here, you see a great big hadrosaur statue. That's the first clue that we're headed in the right direction. So we move on up the path a little bit, and our elevation is changing now. And we have this coastal forest display there, this little covered area, which is a third look into the Nasutoceratops and Parasaurolophus exhibit there with their appropriate signs. And we've got a couple out there. I see one moving up by the frozen fruit block. There's another one lying down. And that's a look back, and you can just glimpse the first viewpoint right off the plaza into this habitat. And on this side you can see the temple columns in the distance. Very useful for orienting guests to let them know roughly where they are in the park. There's a little structure here that may turn into something in the future, sort of hedging my bets on what guest needs will be. And right here we can look into the habitat, and this time we have animals. In fact, I think we have all three species here. We got a Lambeosaurus right in front, Parasaurolophus lying down over on the left, and past the Lambeosaur is a Styracosaurus. These animals were all contemporaries, and so big bonuses for this exhibit when it's in good shape. And another building. These buildings are intended to evoke the Lost Kingdom theme, and also provide places to put up screens. And this is the path out of this viewing area, and as you can see, no admittance down the road that way. So let's I want to show you something else. So let's sneak through the bushes a little. You want to go? Let's go. And squeeze through the ropes. And that building is actually functional, it turns out, because it's a little shelter. It may be too low for the hadrosaurs. I haven't checked that. They tend to be tall animals, but the Styracs can certainly bed down in there if they want to. I see one. Not a Styrac, but an animal. So we'll sneak up there. Don't run through the redwood. Two Parasaurolophus. And they're grazing. So these animals do a lot of that, but then that's kind of to be expected from a herbivore that size. I spent a lot of time trying to find tidbits here in this substrate, but you know, they'll do what they can, I guess, while they can. Amazing animals. And let's see, what else can we find in here? It's a Lambeosaurus, named after Lawrence Lamb. The hatchet crest is one of the crest styles that this genus has, and it develops over time in the animals, like most of the fancy head ornamentation in dinosaurs. And early partial specimens often confuse people as to whether they had a new species or not. Heads are a big part in a lot of paleontologists' program to recognize hadrosaurs. They don't spend enough time looking at the postcranial specimen, I'm afraid, because there's some differences back there, and they tend to not be very good at spotting them. Thank you for your call. Let's move on up the hill to where those Styracs are. By the way, the Lambeosaurus skins are the cosmic, which is the largest variant of the animal. So it's snack time up here, and you may have noticed the Parasaurolophus over by the reeds having a little bit of a roll to scratch an itch. And of course from this angle you can still see those temple columns up there. So it's lots of good views in here. We're going to get the big call. Here it comes. And those carry pretty far over the park. So the hadrosaurs have been getting most of the attention. And we've got a beautiful Styrac here, checking things out as he walks across the habitat. We'll hide in the bushes here, but I guess he sees us anyway and doesn't care. That's good, because you don't want to mess with animals that size. And off he goes. So that's kind of our cue to get out of the habitat and take a look at its layout. You can see the largest portion of the habitat is on camera view northeast of the river that divides it. You see some dinos having a drink down there, and the smaller half with the shelter building. is a smaller half, right? Half is half, right? Right. The smaller portion where that other viewpoint building is, and you get a good look at how the temple building is laid out. So let's go down there and drop ourselves on this upper platform. I think very special guests would get a chance to come up here and take a look over the park. Since it's a tropical park, naturally, there's a lot of foliage out there with things poking out of it here and there. You can even see over to the larger portion of the exhibit and down into the nearer portion. Some of it is occluded, of course. Let's go down the stairs and get ourselves organized here. Oh, we've got a Styrac out here now. Where was he when we were over there? Anyway, perhaps not the best of views, but certainly where one can watch and maintain the animals. Definitely no view in that direction, far too much in the way of foliage. So we go around the building, and there's a break in the coping so that the staff can get out onto the rooftop there and do maintenance and such like. And research staff can get out on that building and go to the far edge for a cleaner view into the habitat. So this is the other Parasaurolophus. This is Crytivo. I'm always stumbling over that name. In any case, the one in the new exhibit is walkeri. So these animals are not quite at the same time period. There may be some overlap, but they come from different provinces. Anyway, that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. You all be kind to each other and take care of yourselves out there. Dino Bob, signing off.